Welcome to the Front Porch podcast. Join us as we uncover the extraordinary stories of people who are part of Front Porch communities and services. Young professionals just starting their journeys, lifelong learners pursuing new passions, and seasoned storytellers sharing the wisdom they've gained along the way. Together, we'll explore how purpose and community shape us with stories that will inspire you to discover your own unique contribution. Views expressed by guests on this podcast are the opinion of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Front Porch communities and services. Please see our show notes for more details. I'm your host, Anna Hall. In this episode, you'll hear Victor share the power of culture and how it's impacted his life. And it really is an incredible human need and desire to feel a sense of belonging. And culture is one of those tools in our human toolkit that humans create naturally across time and space in order to create this sense of belonging through shared values, shared experiences, shared beliefs, and the stories that we all share. Victor's experience growing up in his culture is so powerful. I can't wait for you to hear it. And he also shows us through his story of how culture shaped him, why it's so important for organizations and communities to have culture. It is through these shared values and our natural need to belong and have shared experiences that we grow and learn together and feel united. Before he started working in senior living communities, Front Porch's Vice President of Project Management, Victor Ceron, was a professional wrestler. As Kafu, the Brazilian Beast, Victor performed with WWF, WWE around the world. But he says his true calling is in building. With degrees in HVAC, electrical specialization, and construction management, Victor has built commercial facilities, residential homes, and senior communities from the ground up. A father and grandfather, Victor is still involved in wrestling, training future stars like his son. Victor, welcome to the Front Porch podcast.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for having me.
Talking to you inspires me every single time. So let's jump right in. You were a superstar on television. Now you're Front Porch's superstar, but can you share what was one of your best memories of being a wrestler?
First of all, how I started my dream with wrestling, I was in Mexico, right? I'll tell you this story. Over there was lucha libre, which is completely different than here in the United States. Over there, they wear masks and all that stuff there. So my grandpa took me to a show. I was intrigued after the show. These guys were like bigger than life. They were superheroes, right? And I just wanted to know how that feel like, if I were to be a wrestler since I was a little kid there. I used to grab a towel and wrap my head and think, oh, this is my mask. Oh my God. Sometimes I grab my underwear and put it on my head.
Now, Victor, some would call that manifesting.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, yes. And I was just jumping and all that stuff.
You spent some of your childhood in Mexico and then you moved to the U.S. Tell us about the beginnings for Victor.
Oh, my goodness. So many memories from Yucatán. Because it's a long story because my father immigrated first, then my mom, and then I didn't come back until later on. I actually lived with my grandpa and grandma in the farm. My grandpa was a butcher. They taught me since little to work hard, feed the pigs at 5 a.m, go get like the chickens ready. And so we used to do that in the morning. Then I used to go to school. But anyways, it was really tough because it was in some of those areas still no electricity. It was really a third world country there. I tell this to my kids. When we open that faucet, like in your room, in your house, and hot water magically comes out, you know what? That's a blessing for somebody.
Yes.
It's
Clean
a blessing
water is a blessing.
Sometimes you have to walk a mile, 2 miles to get water, come back with buckets of water, put them in a fireplace or like in a little fire pit. And from there, we used to bathe ourselves.
You've also talked to me about the incredibly rich culture that you grew up with and how that's impacted how you think about community. I'm thinking specifically about the annual Run of the Virgin. Could you tell our audience a little bit about that, please?
December 12th, we celebrate Mary the Virgin, We had this run where we used to call it kind of paying our dues, right? On the people that were before you, the ones that laid the path for you. We used to carry a torch, and part of our sacrifice was for us to run barefoot on the actual pavement when there was pavement. In some of these places, there was no pavement. It touches me because it's beautiful. It's about believing in you, believing in yourself, and believing in others. Taught me from a really young age that in life things can be hard. And that part of that run is the pain that you're feeling in your feet, right?
How long were you all running for?
So we take turns. It used to be a run for that lasted 5 days. Sometimes, yeah.
I thought you were talking like 30 seconds.
No. So like so you run as much as you can, like that. You take turns. The torch gets passed. But what is beautiful about that is that when you're tired, somebody's there to relieve you, right? Having that trust. So we used to run it, and the goal is to arrive at 7:00 in the main church when the mass was about to start, and that torch needed to be there.
Talk about a motivation, right?
Motivation, but teamwork, understanding how you trust others to go with you if they want to go with you, right? It was a choice. The funny part is that I was a kid when I started doing that, and I didn't get that. I didn't get that until later on. It's a deep question for me. Culture.
Culture is deep. It is our rituals, our beliefs, our values, our traditions, our stories. We do have that as an organization. You're talking about your personal culture that you grew up in, your family. And I can see how much it has shaped you as you talk about teamwork, about doing hard things, about believing that things can get better, about when you're tired, somebody else will pick up for you. I mean, I see that in you, the Victor that I know today. It's beautiful to learn more about how you became you.
Appreciate it. And we are always learning because a lot of times as we grow as human beings, you don't get those things until later on. Like you understand the lessons later in life sometimes.
So when is it that you later made that realization?
When I moved to the United States, came in a really crucial age. It was just, I believe I was 12 or turning 13 here, something like that. It was
very crucial age.
Very crucial age.
Early teenage years, yes.
Yeah, I didn't spoke the language. I was coming to a completely different culture. So when we first came in the United States, we're a family of 6. I'm the oldest. Then it's my brother Javier, then my sister Maria, and my youngest brother Edwin. There was my mom and dad. We used to live in somebody's house in the backyard. It was essentially I'm gonna call it what it is. It was a little shed there. So we didn't really have a bed. My dad had to work many jobs. Most of them were fast food restaurants. Our main goal was to make sure Edwin had his formula. At nighttime, we used to wait for my dad to come back from there, and he had good people around him that used to kind of give him whatever was left in the restaurant, and we used to split the burgers, and that was, or we used to wait for our dinner, essentially, at some point in our life. It was very humbling beginnings.
Is this what you think of when you think of pay it forward?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. Part of why we want you to be a guest is because you share your stories with such sincerity and authenticity.
At that time, I'm never going to forget. I used to work in the flea market on the weekends, and I used to get there really early in the morning, at 5 in the morning, just to help people set up and earn a couple dollars here and there.
And how old were you then?
I was only 13 years old.
13, so it was
when we first
recently
came here.
When you moved, okay.
Yeah, and because I knew that my father and my mom needed my help, because again, going back in running those miles to get to the church, right? It's the belief.
At 13 years old,
Yeah.
You were
yeah.
so aware of your family's circumstances, and you felt a responsibility, and you started contributing.
Yeah, because I didn't want my brothers to know that. I didn't want them to carry that. And I used to work with another guy named Frank, and he had a t-shirt store. But right on that corner, there was a gentleman, Ranjit, it was his name. He had a convenience store, and he always allowed me to have a tab on his convenience stores. And every time I used to get paid on the weekends, throughout the week, I used to pick up eggs or whatever we needed. And on the weekends, I used to go pay my tab with him, and pay off whatever I owe him. And anyways, things started changing. My dad, that's when he first started getting into construction. My father he's not such a large guy, but he's one of the most determined persons in this planet. I admire him. He's one of my heroes. So things start changing, and it was the last time I went to see Ranjit, and I wanted to pay what I owe him. And I said to him that, things are getting better. We were moving to Santa Clara. My dad, we're doing much better at that time, right? And when I say, thank you for everything, you had been an angel to me and my family. That there's a lot of good people still in this world, right? So I came over here to pay you my tab, and he got my hands and he said, kid, keep your money, but whenever you can, help somebody else.
You do every day.
There's always somebody else there watching for you. Go back to my culture. When you're running, having that faith, having that open mind, that open heart, to give back to humanity. It's always somebody else helping you. Just like my grandpa helped me, my father, and Ranjit.
You helped your brothers.
Yeah. So it's crazy how the life can be if people are open.
I think about you and your stories of your family and your grandparents, and you were a little boy with a mask on, and you said you wanted to know what that feeling would be like to be a professional wrestler. What was that feeling like, and was it as you imagined?
It was incredible. There's no feeling in the world like when you're on that ring, because you almost feel invincible. People not just chanting your name, but when they're buying that story that you're telling them wrestling. Mm-hmm. I was a heel most of the time. Heel means you're the bad guy, right? Baby face, you're the good guy. So I was wrestling Savio Vega there in a cage match.
That sounds so scary, a cage match. Oh.
So in a cage match, and we're just going at it. And in wrestling, we call, he gigged that night. So gigging means we hide a little blade and we just kind of do a little incision in our forehead and we start bleeding.
What?
Yeah, when you see me, you see some of the marks here in my forehead. That's for that.
That's intense, Victor.
Savio Vega is kind of like the Hulk Hogan in Puerto Rico. Let's put it that way. He's an icon there. So that night, I was wrestling for the championship title for them, for IWA, International Wrestling Alliance. When he was beating me up, that after I give him the heat, that means it was my time to kind of beat him up. Mm-hmm. When he had this comeback where like I missed something and then he starts hitting me and you can
the drama.
The drama, like
the story.
Yeah, I'm like bumping over the place, right?
Yeah.
And they were going crazy. So there was a portion where we did what is called a ref bump. So what happened? The ref kind of got behind me. Then Savio charged me, then I move out of the way. So he hits the ref, right? And the ref gets knocked out, right? That's part of the act there, right? Uh-huh. And then he turns around. I hit him with a chair, bah, over and over, right? And that's when he kind of gigging. So he started bleeding. These people were going crazy in the crowd. There was over 30,000 people in the stadium in San Juan there. And I'll just keep hitting him. When the refs is waking up, Savio starts getting up. I throw the chair at Savio and I take a bump, and the ref thinks that he hit me with the chair, so he disqualifies him.
Ooh.
And these people went crazy, right? They were like, oh my God.
Because they're so in the story, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you were a bad guy.
I was the bad guy. I don't know if you remember the Bushwhackers from the 80s, from in WWF at the time.
Just to clarify, the Bushwhackers are the Australian wrestling duo, Luke Williams and Butch Miller.
After the match, I won the championship by cheating, right? I'm in the locker room. I took a shower, getting ready, and Luke comes from the back, right? And he comes back and he says, "Hey, mate, just stay here. Don't come outside," right? I'm like, okay, no problem. I was just kind of getting ready. But an hour went by, hour and a half goes by. And he comes back and, "Hey, mate, don't come outside," right? And
like, it's not safe for you to go out because the crowd's mad because you were a bad guy?
Yeah, well, there were about 1,000 Puerto Ricans waiting for me with machetes outside. And
with machetes?
Yes. They had to call the cops to put me in a van to drive me to Isla Verde, like in the cop car, because they were that upset.
Look at you smiling. You're like, yeah, I did a good job.
Well, that's when you know you did your job. You told my story, right? So.
I mean, we hear this incredibly authentic, like gentle giant, and you were this Brazilian beast who was wrestling and smashing people. Who is the Brazilian beast and who is Victor, and how do you separate them, or do you?
The name was Kafu, because actually when we created that name with my promoter at the time, the whole full name is Cafuringa. And Cafuringa was a character in Brazil. He was kind of the Robin Hood of that era.
The Robin Hood? Oh.
Yeah. He always was there to help his people, be bullies or taking advantage of others. But the whole name was Cafuringas, but it was easier to say Kafu. And then Kafu, my promoter said, "You be Kafu, the Brazilian beast," right? So Kafu, it's me, but it's got an amplifier that is 100 times more, right? Like, it's because whether if you're doing wrestling or whether if you're working, people can tell when you're not being you.
And what's the impact of not being authentic? What happens when you're not authentic?
How people are going to trust you if you're not authentic? Again, like reading your crowd, right? Like reading the people around you. It's important, and it's not a difference when we are talking to colleagues, working with our residents, understanding what they want. Like, but you gotta be yourself in order to really connect with them, and it's really earning the trust.
So, was it a difficult decision for you to decide to retire from wrestling?
Yeah, it was. So it was one of my last tours. It was Christmas Eve. You had a lot of people cheering your name, blah, blah, blah. But then when you go back to the hotel room by yourself, it's reality. I'm the guy that missed all the holidays, birthdays, and first days in schools. Right now I have my two little ones with Sammy and Ramin. With them, I have experienced that for the first time in my life, taking them to the first day in school, picking up in school. So I believe that I have given a precious second opportunity to experience that, and not too many people can say that. So I'm really grateful about that too. But during that time, I was so focused in just getting ahead and not giving up on my dream, right? I had my daughter, Ruby, is my angel. She's turning 30 here soon, but I had her really young too. So I had that responsibility to raise a child at the same time. I was a kid myself. So there were so many things that were happening in my life. Like, I even considered writing a book someday.
You will.
May I read you a letter that she just sent me 2 days ago? She said, "Dad, thank you for giving me the best parts of you. The fun, the laughter, the love, the protection. You protected me from you," she said. "I know now I am precious to you. I don't know what anger looks like on you, ni fastidio towards me." Fastidio means annoyance, She speaks Spanish very well, by the way. "You give me the best parts of you, your words, your wisdom, the security of not feeling alone. I hope you see your sacrifice in life has paid off when you see me. I am free to be myself with no fear. I'm the best part of you. I'm your Ruby. And to me, you're my hero. Victor is your name, and you represent it. So strong, you're generous, kind, ambitious, a leader. I will choose you every lifetime for you to be my dad. You're always with me because I am you. I love you, Ruby.
What's it like to receive a letter like that from your daughter?
Oh my God, this is what I'm talking about. What I gave to become that wrestler. You know, it's not easy.
So, Victor, what brought you to work in senior living?
During that time, I was not signed 100% with the WWE. On the weekends, I used to go wrestle in the independent circuits. I worked Monday to Friday, and then the weekends, I used to be a weekend warrior. And,
Literally.
Like, so my father, we built a few communities. We were building one in San Jose, California, and one in Sunnyvale. This is how I fell in love with senior livings. The owner asked me, Victor, how you know these facilities, you kind of build it from the ground up. Why don't you just stay with us? And that's kind of when 9/11 happened, in construction and a lot of stuff kind of. So I said, sure, no problem, and I started working there. So that particular company has a memory care, and there was a gentleman that moved in there. He got really close with me, and he used to call me Mike. Every time you see me, hey, Mike, come over here. He used to be a carpenter. We got to change these windows and all that. I mean, I had no idea. I started to learn about memory care. So I always went along and measured the windows. Yeah, sure, no problem. I knew that
By the way, Victor, that's the best thing you can do is enter the person who's living with dementia, enter their reality. And
Correct.
You did that, and that created such connection.
Yeah.
For people living with dementia especially, it's how you make them feel and that sense of safety.
And I didn't know none of this stuff, Anna. I did not know. And then I noticed that the family member was there. It was a daughter, and there were other family members there. And I approached him. I said, hey, how you doing? I'm Victor. I'm the environmental services director for here. And I have a question for you. Every time your dad sees me, he calls me Mike. This always touches me because, she started crying, like, oh my God, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know, and I'm just was concerned. I made her upset. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. No, you're not upsetting me. She was hugging me. Mm. He thinks you're my brother that he passed away.
Oh my goodness.
When she told me that, I got even closer with him, right?
Yeah. What a gift.
Yeah. But when he passed away, Anna, it devastated me. That on Monday, I went to Carol. She was the ED there. And I went and said, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, how many times am I going to get close with residents and I'm going to be feeling like this, just the selfishness of me not understanding what was happening to me because I didn't know yet, right?
Well, also our industry has to do better about preparing people for this because we create incredibly meaningful, real relationships among team members and residents. Yeah. And because it's the cycle of life, death happens, we lose people we love, and it becomes part of the gift that we have of meeting such incredible people, but it's also challenging. Why did you keep going then, Victor?
Yeah. What made it harder for me was he looked a lot like my grandpa too. When Grandpa died, I didn't have the means to go back to see him and go visit him. I don't want to get religious, but the powers to be here, like I believe that my grandpa was talking to me through him that got me even closer, you see? So when he died, I remember I went to say that day I was ready to resign. But Carol was incredible. You know what she said to me? She said, if you were not made for this work, you wouldn't be here talking to me today. Go back to work. But then later on, she kind of went down in my shop. It was down in the basement. How you doing? And then she sat down and she said, Victor, in our industry, that's one of our first senior loves, you know. So what you experience is your first senior love that you're never going to forget this. And one day, you're going to be telling this story.
That's why I have stayed in this industry for 25 years. It's because of love. And the people that we get to work with are here because they care. It's like an affinity group of people who really care about each other. It's like almost natural community builders.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think I'm on the road a lot with Front Porch.
You travel to all of our communities because your job is our buildings, right?
Yes.
I mean, your job is the buildings. Your specialty is the people.
I love the people more than the buildings, even though I enjoy building them, and I'll tell you why. When I go to all these communities, shout out to all my facilities directors, by the way. I hope you get a chance to.
Oh, yeah, shout outs.
I love them all. They're so amazing. They're so different. They make the communities.
A community is not a building. A community is people who are unified by a culture and how to treat each other and who care.
Exactly.
What have you learned about community building in your time at Front Porch?
When we went to that merge from Cobia to Front Porch, right?
Two senior living organizations uniting as one.
Uniting to one. What the typical human nature would be, why you doing this thing this way and why you doing that? So
or us and them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Throughout the process, I have learned so much, like in this part of us coming together, right? Like, because even though there were some differences, we found ourselves that we are a lot similar than what we think of. We start growing together, like on this, because it's each of us that have that responsibility of being authentic and being open. That's the start to become a strong community, right?
Yes, where everyone can feel they belong.
Yes.
Where everybody plays a role.
Yes.
Everyone matters. The whole premise of the podcast is that every human is incredible and extraordinary. And it's when we take those unique individuals and bring them together to be what nature wants us to be, which is interconnected and interdependent, we can flourish more together than we do apart. So your son is interested in professional wrestling now? What's it like to mentor him?
I coached him. Since he's a little kid, he wake up early in the morning doing push-ups, eating right, eating well, the Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling. Potentially he was following his old man stuff. You know, he'd be moving to Florida. You know, it's up to him. I told him, I can help you. I can show you the door. You're the one who's got to walk through it. You know what to do.
Yeah. So what's it like moving from being the star of the show to now mentoring the next generation?
I love it. I love it. It's pay it forward because somebody did that to me. I enjoy helping other kids on their dreams. I am very honest with them, how it's not easy. And I keep telling them this, and I believe this in anything that you do in life. If you're chasing the money right now, guys, you're in for the long haul here. You have to love it first. You have to be authentic. You have to show that to your fans, that you love what you do. It's all about telling the story in that ring. You're telling the story so that people can really want to read your story.
Tell us one more piece of advice about what it means to pay it forward.
Yeah, so pay it forward to me is paid with this right here, what you have inside here.
Your heart.
Your heart. And don't expect nothing. Mm-hmm. That's what it means to me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your love and your passion with us on the Front Porch podcast. We are so blessed to count you as a member of our community.
My pleasure, Anna. I really thank you for you giving me the opportunity to talk to our colleagues, show them that I care for them. And
they know, they feel it every day.
And we appreciate what they do every day.
Yes. Thank you to our Front Porch community. We care about you. We love you. We see you. Thank you. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Anna.
You've been listening to the Front Porch Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Hall. Our theme music was composed by Joe Von Snare and Diane K. Enrique. Carmen Elena Mitchell is our producer and editor. Our recording engineer is Jeff Gall. Special thanks to Laura Darling for production and marketing support, and to Joseph Escobar for our show art design. The Front Porch Podcast is a production of Front Porch Communities and Services. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please share it with a friend and help others find us by subscribing and leaving a review. We'll be back soon with more stories from the fascinating folk who live and work at Front Porch. Until then, stay connected and inspired.